Okay, and you just recently got back from a trip from Washington. Can you tell me a little bit about what you were doing out there?
Yeah, every year our board of directors goes back about this time of year to visit, whether it's the second year of Congress or a new Congress. And so we went back this time. We had just seen that they passed the Farm Bill, and so we were glad that the Senate did that, and the President went ahead and signed the Farm Bill. So we wanted to thank all the powers to be. It was very important for agriculture across the country. Even though we're not as big of a Farm Bill state here in California, it was very important for some of our area issues, our pest detection, eradication issues, and some of our market assistance program, technical assistance dollars. There was some drought money in there for folks that are being beleaguered by the drought. So number one was to thank folks for the Farm Bill. Now let's use some of that same bipartisan effort to maybe get some immigration reform done. That's something else we need. And then first and foremost is the drought that were before. And so we met with Senator Feinstein. We met with our congressional representatives in the Valley. Last week the House did pass a version out of the Republican-controlled House. And it's a somewhat polarizing bill, but it's at least something that comes out of the Republican side. Today, Senator Feinstein introduced, and Senator Boxer and the two senators from Oregon, their proposal out of the Senate side. So now hopefully we can go to conference and get something done.
And you're talking later this week about the drought. You're giving a briefing on that. Can I ask you a couple of the things that you're going to cover?
Well, it's mostly just what the economic impacts are going to be in California. And we hear a lot of folks that say, well, we just need to conserve more. We've conserved our way into nothing. We've been conserving over the many, many years that we've been, and as I tell folks, what we are facing today didn't just happen this year or the last 2 years. This started happening 20 years ago when we failed to plan for this. Mother Nature gives us drought from years to year. From years on end, we've had, anybody in agriculture has suffered through droughts, and we've made it, but that's because we had reliable supplies, either in surface storage or groundwater. Over the last couple of decades, as we have done less for impounding water, surface water, we've relied more on groundwater, and now we're overdrafting our groundwater supplies. And so what I want to reach out to the folks next at the end of this week is a lot of these folks and elected officials and others, when you look at our budget accounts, they tend to borrow to the future. And you can't do that with Mother Nature. As someone once said, Mother Nature always bats last. You better take what Mother Nature gives you when she gives it to you and bank it for the future, because you can't borrow into the future. We did that utilizing our groundwater. It's now boxed us into a corner we can't get out of. We need to have more water infrastructure, more storage, and then to be able to move that water through conveyance systems to people that need it.
And that's been a big issue for years, too. People talking about needing to update that infrastructure, and still nothing suitable has been done. Do you think we're at a point now where they're going to be paying closer attention?
I hope so. Usually elected officials look to see what's on the front page of the paper and know they have a problem. And so certainly what you are doing by covering this story, what all the major newspapers, TVs, radios, I mean, this is getting a lot of attention. The president is going to be here on Friday. I'm sure it's going to be somewhat of a political trip, and certainly he's going to try to use that as a bully pulpit to say, everything that they're trying to do for the beleaguered state or the state that's been beleaguered by drought. But the most important thing is to have the media attention so that we can shed more light on this issue, so that this issue doesn't go away. And we've had some rain the last week or so. So hopefully people understand this drought is ongoing, it's severe. And even though we've had a few little rain showers and a little bit of snow in the Sierras, we're a long ways and decades away from being where we need to be for the future.
And we're out here today at the World Ag Expo, and that does bring another spotlight here to agriculture in California. So we have people from all over the country here in the heart of California. Do you think that there are any other issues that we need to point out that we're dealing with right now that the nation needs to know about?
Well, I think the fact that we're the fifth largest agricultural economy in the world, California is. And I don't want to poke fun at other states, but if you took Iowa and Texas, combine them, they would now be the #1 state in agricultural production as of about 4 years ago. But before that, we would have still been the largest agricultural state. And that's not to sit here and to say how great we are in California. It's the diversity of our microclimates that allow us to grow a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables that most other states can't do on a year-round basis. And it's the fact that in the past we had reliable supplies of water. Most of the other states have to depend upon groundwater, or they have to depend upon Mother Nature in the form of rainfall. But here we've been able to store water. And so when you look at all this equipment, it comes at a cost. And so the only way you can buy this equipment, the only way you can put people to work that are manufacturing equipment, the only way you can put the farm worker to work, the only way you can put the processor, the packager, the marketer, everybody that takes that product from our California farms to the final plate and to the consumer, you gotta have water. And so the message is, this is all great, but it'll all be for naught if we don't have water. So we can't put water on our fields, so we can't put seeds in the ground, and we can't grow the crops we do so well here in California.
Right. So what kind of a price are we looking to pay because we did not spend that on infrastructure?
I think it's going to be huge. We don't know, but I know in my area, Modesto Irrigation District, my middle son Jake is on the MID Board of Directors. Today they're talking about setting a limit of 18 inches of water with no additional water supplies available out of the district. So what that means is people are going to be getting on a list to get well drillers. You cannot grow a crop of almonds or walnuts on 18 inches of water. We still have water in the reservoir, but they don't want to use that because they don't know if we're in the third year of a 3-year drought or a third year of a 5-year drought. My feeling is we better use the water now and hope and pray for rain next year. But 18 inches of water will not get us through, and we always thought we were in an area, unlike some other areas of the Central Valley here, the San Joaquin Valley have been challenged for water supplies for years. We thought we were in pretty good shape. I think there's going to be a lot of blame thrown around this year of why we're in where we're at. It certainly wasn't agriculture. We have been saying for a long time we need more water. And so I think it's going to come down to the environmental community that said we can conserve our way into plenty, and you cannot conserve your way into plenty.
Right. Do you have any other final thoughts for us?
No, I just think thanks for covering this and keeping the whole drought situation. The irony is we were back in D.C. talking about immigration reform. This may be a year where labor supplies are not an issue. But it's not an issue because we're going to have a lot of people unemployed. So for those areas that do have available water, maybe in some of the salad bowl growing regions, Salinas and Ventura and those others, they may now have labor supplies they didn't have before, but it comes at a terrible cost. It comes to a terrible cost to our rural areas, to the Central Valley, and throughout the state that doesn't have water to put people to work and to create that kind of stimulus for our economy, not only in rural California, but throughout this country.